We'll call to order the Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session for tonight, which is Thursday, August the 28th, 2025. We've already had our invocation by Reverend Dr. Francisco Artley and the Pledge of Allegiance in our work session meeting, so we'll get right into the meat of the meeting, which we're at item number 4, announcements and presentations. And so I will read the protocol for the meeting, and then we'll follow the rest of the agenda. My name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm mayor of the city of Douglasville. I'd like to welcome you to the Douglasville City Council Legislative Work Session. This is a work session where agenda items are presented for discussion only. No official action will be taken this evening. Official action will be taken on these items to discuss this evening next Tuesday. Typically it's Monday, but Monday's Labor Day, so we'll have a meeting next Tuesday. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates for you to discuss your business. I'll go over a few protocol items and then we'll get into the meeting. I ask that you would please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. You will receive a warning from the chair. If you deviate from this requirement, a second deviation will result in a request for us to ask you to leave the premises. Only one person speaking at a time. Please do not applaud, react to the speaker, speak from the audience, cheer or carry on a conversation when you're at the podium. We ask that you would please address all of your concerns and comments to myself or the committee chairperson, whomever is running that particular agenda item, and that you will not turn around and talk to the audience while you're discussing your information with myself and council members. I'll remind you that we're only required to accept public comment during the required public hearings. And if you have any other concerns outside of the public hearings, you can bring those up under comments from citizens and delegates. Now, this is how the meeting will be handled this evening. The committee chairperson will read his or her item. Then someone representing that item, the person that's coming forward, either the attorney or the applicant, will make his or her presentation. Myself and council members will possibly ask clarifying questions to help us make a determination once the vote takes place next Tuesday. After that, if it's a public hearing, the committee chairperson will say we have 20 minutes for those that are in favor of the item and 20 minutes for those that are in opposition. And each person has 5 minutes to speak, but in totality, each side only has 20 minutes. So if you have 10 people, you have to deviate your time up to each person gets 2 minutes or so. It just, in totality, you only have 20 minutes for each side. Prior to coming to the podium, I ask that you would please fill out a comment card. They're outside on the desk. You can fill those cards out and then hand those to Assistant City Manager, Ms. Karen Callen, who's over to the left. She will give that information to the clerk's office, and it will be submitted in for public record. Each person has one opportunity to speak. This is not a question and answer format or debate going back and forth. We're just here to hear the information, deliberate, and make our decisions next week. If staff can't answer the question tonight that's giving at that time, we will answer, but if not, we'll get back to the individuals. I ask that you would please put your telephones or electronic device on silent mode or turn those off until after the meeting so they will not be disruptive. And if you have any printed material, I ask that you give it to Ms. Callen. She'll give it to the clerks. We'll make copies and give it disseminated to the council members. I believe that's it. If you have information that's not repetitive, that the other person says, you don't have to repeat the information. We ask that you would come and be concise when you present. I know that's a whole lot of talking. Hopefully we're all on the same page and we all understand how the meeting is going to be run tonight. So now we're moving on. We're at item number 5. If you'd like to have a printed copy, they're outside on the desk. If not, you can follow us on the screen behind me. So now we'll move on to the next committee, which is Economic Development Committee, and that's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem, City Council Member Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business at this time under the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Finance Committee, chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in finance.
Thanks, Coach. We'll move on to Housing and Community Affairs Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Housing and Community Affairs Committee has no business this evening.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee, chaired by Mayor Pro Tem City Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's no business under the Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We do have information or some item to be held under Personnel and Organization Committee, and that goes back to Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. We
You're
do
welcome.
have one item up for discussion tonight.
Yes, sir.
Item 25-344, adopt a resolution to amend the limited special holiday dates for calendar years 2025 and 2026 to provide for December 22nd, 23rd, and 26th, 2025, and December 22nd and 23rd, 2026 as limited special holidays. And before I turn this over to Ms. Hampton, I'm going to let our staff attorney, Ms. Jordan, make
Give us
some shifts in this.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Miranda Jordan, Staff Attorney, 6695 Church Street. The item reads for 2025 that the limited special holiday dates proposed would be the 22nd, 23rd, and 26th. However, that would actually be the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Anytime Christmas is on a Thursday or a Monday, per our Personnel Policies and Procedures, Section 11-4, the Christmas Eve holiday would actually be taken on the 26th in order to not create a one-day gap between Christmas and the weekend, for example, in this case. So this should actually read, and the resolution should actually read, December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, 2025, and that will be corrected for your Monday
Okay.
voting meeting. I would recommend, therefore, that this not be placed on the consent agenda as written. The
Thank-
2026 dates are correct.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Ms. Hampton, do you have anything to add? Okay, well, I will not ask to put this on the consent agenda so that we can make sure that this change is made. And we will bring this back for confirmation of the change and voting on Monday. And that is all we have for the Personnel and Organization Committee tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Estes and Attorney Jordan. We appreciate the explanation, and we look forward to having this item come before us on next Tuesday. We'll move on then to Planning and Development Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Nicole Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
Before I get started, let me go ahead and read off our opening statement. It says, "Good evening. I'd like to call Planning and Development Committee to order. This evening, some of our items on our agenda will require a public hearing. Before we begin those items, I'd like to briefly review the procedures we will follow to ensure an orderly and fair process. These hearings are conducted in ordinance with Georgia Zoning Procedures Act. As elected officials, it is our responsibility to ensure that all applications are reviewed fairly, impartially, and in accordance with the city's zoning ordinance and adopted land use policies. For each zoning item requiring a public hearing, we will begin with a presentation from city staff outlining the request and any relevant findings. The applicant will then have an opportunity to speak. Following those presentations, mayor and council may ask questions of both staff and the applicant. After that, we will open the floor to public comment. If you would like to speak in support of or in opposition to the application, please complete a comment card before approaching the podium. Comment cards are located near the entrance of the room and should be submitted to the city clerk before your turn to speak. Please include your name, address, the item you wish to address, and if possible, any specific questions you would like to have staff follow up on. All comments should be made respectfully and directly to the chair. When you speak, please begin by stating your name and address for the record. If you ask a question, please understand that we will not respond immediately during the public comment portion. Instead, staff will attempt to address all questions at once before the close of the public comment, provided the information is readily available. Each speaker will be allowed to speak up to 5 minutes. We will allocate a total of 20 minutes for comments in support and 20 minutes for those in opposition. This is not a debate. Interruptions, outbursts, or other disruptions will not be permitted. There's a general public comment period at the end of the meeting tonight, but the City Council cannot hear additional public comments during this general public comment portion for a specific zoning item where the public hearing has already taken place for that zoning item. The mayor will cut off any public comment that refers back to a specific zoning item. As a reminder, the mayor has requested that there be no applause or other distractions during the meeting. Please ensure that electronic devices are silenced, and anyone who disrupts this proceedings will be asked to leave. With that, we will now proceed to the first zoning application tonight. And that first item is item number 25-278. Says consider a request for revised final plat approval to establish Youngtown condominiums for 24 units on 5.674 acres on new alignments of Youngtown Street in Youngtown Court and land lots 738, 745, and 827. District 1, Section 18, District 1 and 18, Section 2 and 3, parcel IDs 0036, 0037, 0038, 0039, 0035, 0036. Application by Mill Holmes, and Mr. James Gordon is going to go over this item with us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
James Gordon, 6695 Church Street. This revised final plat is for Youngtown condominiums. These the streets were cut in several years ago, and only 2 buildings were built at that time. This property is located off of Colquitt Street and the corner of Colquitt and Elsie Street. They have now regraded the lots that were undeveloped, and now they wish to go forward with the building. Some of the things that happened in the past with this, as I said, this has been around for a long time. The first plat was done back in 2002, and that's when they started getting the building permits. The first 2 units were completed in 2005. That's what's pictured there now. And then Chisel Mill Homes purchased the property in 2023, and they started the LDP process. 2025, now they have completed their construction, and they're ready to go back to revised final plat. There are 6 lots zoned PUD with the R4 quads. One of the things that's, when the initial buildings were built, they were given a Youngtown Street address. The street that's there in front of them is actually Elsie Street. So during this replat, we're getting the street names kind of clarified and cleared up with the way it was actually constructed. So we're renaming Elsie Street to Youngtown Street and making a new street called Youngtown Court. So that way and there's only 2 residents that are remaining on the former Elsie Street. One is a abandoned, burnt down house on one side. I spoke to that resident, and they don't have a problem with changing the name. The second resident owns a 4-plex on the corner, and left messages with that resident. I also spoke to the HOA of the Youngtown community, and they're happy that we're actually changing the name, because again, their tax records say Youngtown Street. So we're catching up with their tax records.
Thank you for that, Mr. Gordon.
This is what some of the property look like now after the regrading. They leveled off, getting ready for building. And this is what some of the new condominiums will look like. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you. And just to clarify, the entire LC Street is not being renamed. It is only a small portion of LC Street from, did we say it was from Colquitt Street over to Youngtown Court? Will
That's
now
correct.
be
That's
Youngtown
correct.
Street.
Only that portion. The remainder on the other side of Colquitt will remain LC Street. Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Madam Mayor, Council, do you guys have any questions or thoughts on this item? It's pretty straightforward, just a final replat.
Yeah, it was self-explanatory. I mean, it's pretty forward, as Mr. Gordon has explained. I just want to know if Councilman Davis had anything. I know it's in your ward.
Yes, I do, when you finish, Madam Mayor.
Okay, I'm finished. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's been vacant for such a long time. I remember when they put them in and we approved it, and that they came to us to a halt. And it's just 24 units.
That's the remaining. There's six lots remaining, and they expect to build 4 quads on those 6.
4 quads.
Correct.
Okay, and they're gonna look similar to what's already there.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna build the same thing
Did
that
you get a
was
chance to
there.
speak with any of the neighbors there?
Yeah. I spoke to one of the gentlemen that lives on the end, and he's glad that we're changing the address. And also I spoke to the president of the HOA, and she's gonna let all the rest of the residents, the existing residents, know about it that are in the 2 existing buildings.
Okay. I try to reach out to them tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
And another thing I did while I was out there speaking to the residents, the mail carrier happened to drive up, and I gave her a map of what the new street names would be also. So,
She was okay with that?
yeah. She was kind of glad that now it will actually match what she's delivering the mail to.
Okay.
Councilman Davis, did that answer your questions?
Somewhat.
Okay. All right, thank you. And thank you so much, Mr. Gordon. Madam Mayor, Council, are you guys okay with placing this on the consent agenda?
No, LaShawn should be here on Monday.
Okay.
Tuesday.
Okay, well then we will hold off and we will take this item up on Monday. Mr. Gordon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Oops. Okay. Our next item is item number 25-298. Says tabled from August, I'm sorry?
278.
Am I looking at the wrong one?
298, correct.
That's okay. We needed a little friendly dialogue. We're good. All right. Item number 25-298. It says tabled from August 4th. Hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance from section 5.04 of the Unified Development Ordinance to increase the accessory structure height from 20 feet to 50 feet for 132.20 acres located on Strickland Street in Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009 and 0108, application by Amazon Data Services, and Mr. Dana Gray can go over any updates we may have on this item.
Good evening, Dana Gray, 6695 Church Street. This is a proposal for a data center consisting of 4 buildings with AWS. The request for the variance that they are asking for is to increase an accessory structure from 20 foot to 50 foot for water towers. They're located next to a water building, which is at the entrance of the site, the proposed site. And that concludes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And,
And the applicant is here.
okay, wonderful. Would you like to come on down and go over any updates that you may have on the water towers?
Evening, Joe Fowler, Post Office Box 49 in Douglasville. Allow me to introduce Mr. Reed Irwin with Kimley Horn. He is the consultant for this project. If I may get to this is the site with which you are familiar. As I noted last time, there are a number of requests that were made initially, and we had talked about a stream buffer variance, and because those are the items that follow, I'll defer on that, but all the requests for the stream buffer variances have been withdrawn. We are here, as you heard a moment ago, for variances for the 6 proposed water tanks that would be used for storage purposes. That's used for the cooling purposes in the data centers, and then there'll be 2 water tanks for fire protection. The proposed water storage tanks, they function essentially as a water reserve system that enables reliable water supply during times of peak demand. The tanks help stabilize the water system that is used at some level in the cooling on site. And the stabilization occurs not just for on-site use, but also for WSA or system impact as well. And what happens with respect to that is it reduces pressure fluctuations, and it also creates a more stable and consistent flow to the site throughout the entire development. What Amazon has experienced in its data center development is that the on-site storage in this manner with the 6 tanks that you've seen described, it has essentially a soothing effect on the flow peaks and valleys during normal operation. Without those tanks, it might be that the impact is more pronounced. All of that means more consistent service to Amazon on site, but also other users in the area, primarily during peak usage in warmer months. The tanks are epoxy coated. They are steel bolted tanks with an expected lifespan of 40 years with routine maintenance. There are leak detection systems on each tank, which have alarms that are tied to the building management system that is, of course, on site. Any leaks are repaired as needed, and importantly, Amazon has never in its history experienced any kind of catastrophic failure with the tanks of this nature. As I noted last time, there are nearby detention ponds that could handle unexpected flows from the tanks if that were to occur. Amazon data centers use roughly 60% less water for cooling purposes than is the industry standard. And as mentioned last time with respect to this particular site, the cooling is primarily air cooling to the extent of 90 to 95%, and evaporative cooling is used only 5 to 10% of the time. Now, if I may, just moving forward in the PowerPoint presentation, this, of course, is where the development is generally off Strickland and South Flat Rock. This is a closer view of that. This is the modified site plan. I'll come back to this with respect to the other agenda items at your direction, but you'll notice that the buildings have moved away from the streams based on the design. That happened because the input from the council last time, they went back to those who are responsible for these designs and made that change. This is a general overlay of the buildings as they sit on site with distances that I think are important to note. First, the water tanks are, you'll see that distance, 1,500 feet from South Flat Rock Road. The buildings that you see as they confront on Veterans Memorial To the west, 1,200 feet, and then as the roadway goes more to the northeast, 950 feet, I think, there, and then 1,250 feet from the building that's the farthest to the east. This is the water building and a water tank behind it that is drawn at the 50-foot elevation. And then interestingly, there are 4 slides here, and what we have done is an attempt to show where the buildings would be at the location where you see 1,500 feet from South Flat Rock Road. And the attempt is to show both the size of the buildings at that distance, but also the height elevations. It looks a little unusual, but that's the concept. That's what this drawing, this slide number 7, represents. It's the approximate location of the water building and the nearby 6 tanks. That is essentially not visible from that location. Now, the next slide is also farther down South Flat Rock, and it's the same effort to show what the buildings would be. That would be the size if you could see them 1,500 feet away, and that's what you would see, but you can't see it because of the foliage. In the winter, it's hard to know for sure. Some of those are, well, that's evergreen trees and not deciduous. That's going south. This is coming back north near the industrial building that's north of our site. And this is the same thing. Again, the locations, but not quite 1,500 feet away at that point because South Flat Rock is curving to the west. And then that's the same thing as you get farther to the north. Again, at that location, probably 1,300 feet away, but not visible. This was a general summary, you may have seen this earlier, that talks about, in the 3rd paragraph, the proposed water storage tanks function as a critical water reserve system, ensuring reliable supply during times of high demand. Beyond storage, I mentioned this a bit ago, the tanks stabilize both the Amazon and the WSA's water system by, as I mentioned, reducing pressure fluctuations, creating the stable and consistent flow to the area. There's this smoothing effect that I talked about as well, avoiding the peaks and valleys of demand, and this results in the consistent water service both on-site and during peak usage in the warmer months. Now, if you have any specific questions, the technical guys are here that can respond to those, but that's the request. Again, as to items C, D, E, and F, those are withdrawn, and if necessary, I can discuss that further in a few moments.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. I greatly appreciate that. Did Mr. Reed, is it?
Yes.
Yes, Reed Irwin.
Did you have anything to add to this so far?
No, ma'am, I'm just here for technicals.
Okay, okay.
Questions if there are any.
Okay, wonderful. I know since last time we met, we've had a lot of in-depth conversations with WSA, with Georgia Power, and with Greystone, just trying to understand data centers, how they use resources, and how we can best look at this going forward. Madam Mayor, Council. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Attorney Fowler
Yes, ma'am.
and Kimberly Horn. We appreciate the presentation and all the information as it relates to the towers. The one thing and I'm sure you said it, Attorney Fowler, was redundancy. I know you said 95% would be cooling other than water. So
Air cooling, yes, ma'am.
air cooling. So the redundancy, is that part of the water tanks, or it's that?
That's it, yes. The water supply on tank with the 6 tanks being on site with the 6 tanks being there. Yes, ma'am.
Is for the redundancy
Yes,
for the?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Absolutely, thank you. Councilman Davis?
Yes, how much traffic expected to be, truck traffic to be used on the little streets?
Very minimal truck traffic following the construction. There will be minimal traffic, probably 20 privately owned vehicles, employees working on site, minimal truck traffic. Can you respond to that?
Yes, my name is Reed Irwin. I'm with Kimberly Horn and Associates, 1170 Amber Park Drive, Alpharetta, Georgia. Yeah, operationally, there's not a lot of truck traffic here. There are the typical deliveries from UPS, FedEx. There's not a daily tractor trailer that would come here. When they're, switching out equipment, things of that nature, there would be, larger trucks that would come at those times. But in general, the tractor trailer truck traffic is very, very minimal for these sites.
And another couple of questions. What about the hazardous spills and power failures?
There's the only material on site that would be considered hazardous would be fuel within a generator belly tank. Those tanks have monitoring systems as well as their dual containment tanks. So there's really not any other types of chemicals on site that would present of environmental concern relative to spills.
So stormwater runoff and wildlife would be protected? Is that?
Yes, sir. The stormwater for the project has been designed in accordance with the Georgia Stormwater Management Manual and city, state, and county requirements.
And one more question. The energy demand for the facilities. Energy demand.
I don't really have any good information to provide relative to that. Georgia Power will be constructing a power substation on the property. The power that serves these types of facilities is more of a transmission and less of a distribution type power, so it does not have impact on the distribution system for the remaining area of the surrounding the facility.
And hopefully the lighting and the noise will be at a minimum, so it won't keep people up all night.
Yes, sir. The Amazon conducts the noise studies and will be in compliance with the city's noise ordinance throughout their operation. And your other question was about lighting. Yeah, down facing lighting and that it is designed to not spill over the property lines. It's the type of lighting that will be used on throughout the facility.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation. Joe, you're starting to sound like an engineer now, you know that.
Pardon me?
You're starting to sound like an engineer. That's a compliment.
That's a compliment.
I've
This-
got a story about that sometime I'll share with you about the difference in engineers and lawyers. That's another story.
Maybe over a beer. This is more for the engineer. It's kind of hard to read some of the topo lines you've got on your topographic plan, but it looks like you've got about maybe 100 feet of elevational difference from highest to lowest point on the site. How are you planning on building a foundation across that, or are you planning on blasting any of that rock out of there?
Yes, there will be a lot of soil and rock removal from the site, the highest part of it. And the lines that you kind of see running around that are somewhat dashed, there are retaining walls. So there will be retaining walls used as well to prepare the what we're calling kind of the building pad area, which is the padded area that you see there where the buildings are located.
I'm looking at your existing topographic maps of the site. So there will be blasting? You
Yes.
think? Okay. And I'm assuming you'll follow all the proper procedures that warn all the neighbors about such
Yes, sir.
potential
Yeah.
dangers and noise created by that.
Cracks in the walls.
If I can remind y'all, we're talking about water towers
I know. Thank
and
you.
height on the accessory structures
Thank
for
you for
those.
reminding me that.
Yes.
Appreciate it. I was thinking of it at the time.
I know you were.
But that's all I got, thanks.
Absolutely. Coach, did you have anything to add?
Would it be appropriate at this time for a brief synopsis, not by me? We've met with Georgia Power, WSA, and Greystone about AI centers in particular. I don't remember if this one was mentioned, but AI, just the needs, as a lot of people are wondering about the water, and I know we're talking about water towers, so they've already mentioned the fact that they're going to use a whole lot less water than most AI centers. But, I mean, would it be appropriate to have that?
Absolutely. I think that might help mitigate a lot of our
I was going to bring that
questioning.
up, so thank you, Coach. But it was Water Department as well.
Mhm.
So it was the WSA, Georgia
Power,
Power,
and Greystone.
Greystone Power.
Mhm.
Essentially, you're meeting with the Water and Sewer Authority, Douglas County Water and Sewer Authority, Greystone Power, Georgia Power, Elevate Douglas, all indicated and addressed this project specifically, that they have been in talks and had conversations specifically about this project, and it will not have any impact on electrical load, water load, any issues with environmental concerns, and that they have to proceed with getting certifications and thorough checks through the state as well as through their process as well, and they have no issues or concerns in either entity for this project or any project that relates to data centers. And before you all see these projects, they've already gone through their process.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So that's all I had.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. And if I can add, because the water that will be going into those water towers is not coming from our direct water source. That's water that has been pre-purchased through the WSA and the power systems that are there. That's where their power is coming from. It's not coming off the same grid lines that my power is coming from at my house. They have their own substations there on property. Okay, with that being said, are there any additional questions? No? Okay. At this time, it is a public hearing, so I would like to open the public hearing. If we have anyone here who would like to speak in favor of this item, you will have 5 minutes. I would like to remind you guys, though, whatever you say it with love and keep it kind. That is an absolute must going forward. And if we don't have anyone who would like to speak in favor of this item, let's go ahead and if we have anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this item, if you'll come up, give us your name and address for the record. Again, you will have 5 minutes to speak with a total of 20 minutes per side.
DeWitt Roper, 6826 Cedar Mountain Road, Douglasville, Georgia. Madam Mayor and council members. Here's a few headlines from the news. Despite 5 years of a drought, a San Antonio data center used 463 million gallons of water in 2023 and 2024. While the data center guzzled water the equivalent of tens of thousands of homes, residents are allowed to water once a week on a designated day and are charged a surcharge for overusage. Texas data center consumed 50 billion gallons of water in 2025 so far. Expected to use 400 billion gallons of water by 2030 in just 4 short years. One data center can use as much electricity as 50,000 homes. A data center in Wyoming will use as much electricity as the whole state. Amazon targets Douglas County. That's a headline for data centers. Amazon to build the largest data center to date on a 1,400-acre cornfield. They're buying up our dwindling farmland. Compass is building a data center on a 340-acre cattle farm. You can't feed your family on data. AI's soaring energy consumption is causing skyrocketing power bills across the U.S. Some states reporting energy costs up 36%. Data centers are eating the economy, and we're not even using them. Data centers' capital expenditures are up 53% year over year, up to $134 billion in the first quarter of 2025. Meta exploring spending $200 billion. Microsoft committed $80 billion. Oracle AI, SoftBank spend $500 billion. McKinsey projects data centers will spend $6.7 trillion by 2030, and the list goes on. The unfortunate truth, most of these data centers will remain dramatically underutilized. The average service utilization rate hovers between 12 to 18% of capacity.
while an estimated 10 million servers remain idle. Even active servers rarely exceed 50% utilization. Thus, the majority of the existing compute infrastructure is essentially burning energy while doing nothing productive. Microsoft is moving ahead to build a $30.3 billion data center on 1,900 acres. Another headline, if your electric bill seems exceedingly high, you're not imagining it. The big reason why, AI and data centers, PGM interconnection, the largest power grid in the U.S., says data centers are causing rates to go up as much as 20%. That's no problem for the mega companies. This is just a handful of headlines. These data centers are gobbling up our farmland, using up our water supply, causing electric bills to soar, harming the environment and threatening fragile ecosystems like Cedar Mountain. They're self-serving, making the billionaires richer and richer, while we pay for it in so many ways. Not one of these billionaires would live near a data center, and neither would you. And neither would you, and we shouldn't have to. A data center near a church camp, a school, and residence is the wrong place. It lowers our living environment and greatly reduces our property values. There's been a long history of putting things you don't like or don't want to see across the tracks. Most people know what I'm talking about. We have the garbage dump, and for years the dog pound. We have the shooting range. We put up with all the trash on the side of the road and the large speeding trucks. The shooting goes on till dark and even on weekends. No solitude after work or on weekends. This is the worst possible place for a data center, besides a church camp residence, a tiny 2-lane road, and next to one of the most biodiverse and ecologically sensitive areas in the entire world. This development should get no consideration. Also, air cool systems are the one that makes the most noise. If you Google data center noise, YouTube, it'll shock you how much noise they put out. So we ask that you give this no consideration, and thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Hey there, if you'll please just give us your name and
Yes.
address for the record.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Nathan Allen Teal. I reside at 2204 South Flat Rock Road, Douglasville, Georgia. I see the drawings, they have been changed. It looks like the laydown for the development of the trees on the entryway has been moved back, plus the water towers. I think Mr. Miller asked a pertinent question, how much blasting was going to have to go on there for that. And then I would like to know where the power substation is going to be. Is it still going to be in the back of the new drawings? Are they going to keep the trees up, or is this just a proposal just to say, hey, this is what we're trying to go for, but it may change? And if they get an approval, I know that the change can come back easier through the city council. And then how tall will the original structure be? I don't think I got clarification or found that out anywhere. And I'm not sure if any of y'all have been and seen Switch Data Center and seen how tall it is. That looks great. Had somebody tell me, when's the last time you've been up Douglas Hill? It's been quite a while, 2 years since I've been up Douglas Hill. That actually turns into the other end of the road is Rock House Road. I would suggest that every city council person, before they vote on this, take a trip to Thornton Road, take a right, first red light you have to go through. The second red light on top of the hill is Douglas Hill Road. Take a right. That's Amazon's data center that they're building too also in Douglas County. That's a monstrosity. If the buildings are going to be that tall as that one already is, they look like they're close to 75 to 80 foot tall buildings. They asked about or he said the water towers would actually help for water retainers or the flow of the water during peak hours, which would affect me because I will be less than a half mile from this development. We still don't know the pond capacity. I think there was a question brought up, if those were to rupture or blow, there would be an overflow area, and there's a pond that could hold around 800,000 gallons of water. There's also, if the blasting goes on, there is a rock vein that runs across the whole section. It actually runs from Blue Circle directly underneath my house into my backyard. I will feel that. Also, too, a lot of these chat rooms and stuff, when they go to have a search for AI, they use a half liter of water. So think of how many times you Google something. Think of how many times you ask a question. Think of how many of these warehouses that are coming up on this, into our county alone for development. They actually have, I'm not going to mention any names for lawsuit purposes, but they actually have technology that is stored in these AI data centers as well. Every time they're doing that, it's going to keep using something. Even some of these aren't at full capacity right now. I don't see why we need to have one to this magnitude in Douglas County when they're already building that other one. And plus, too, I think they're building a 1,000-acre data center between Atlanta and Macon, too, as well. I think maybe we should start putting regulations on data centers in Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, if you'll please just give us your name and address for the record.
Barney Young Jr., 7049 Rose Lake Circle. So I just have a question. This site is across the street from an active quarry. So just want to make sure that proper precautions have been put in place. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in opposition of this item?
Madam Chair, we can clarify one question that was brought up about the height and the art drawings submitted.
Hold on, let me go ahead and close the public hearing if there's no other public comment on that. And you're absolutely right, it's in the agenda items, the height on those buildings is 26 feet.
I've got about 35 feet on the elevation shown. Of the
Okay,
actual
we may have been looking at it from the front side and the back, but either way, it's not anything terribly tall.
50 or 60 or anything like that.
No. Yeah, that's what I said, but Terry said 26. And for clarification, there's no ask with this for a zoning change. This land is already zoned appropriately to be a data center. I know something was brought up about water and water usage, and these will be, I believe it's 90 to 95% air cooled. So during that time, not using water. But the water that they are using will not be coming from the same water system that we use because they are having to pre-purchase their water. Every bit of their power that they're proposing is going into a substation that they've had to pay for up front to put every bit of that infrastructure in, and they're having to prepay deposits that are actually astronomical to see that amount of power money going in towards that utility. The only other question that I think was that all of them? Blasting.
But they have to do technology for minimal impact for blasting.
Right. So,
Yeah, and those things would come up in development. It's up to you if you want to address that. This item is purely for variance for the height restriction on the accessory unit, or I should say accessory dwelling. I would just suggest that you all stick to that.
okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilman Davis had a
Councilman Davis.
Yes, this is Ms. Hampton. Can you give me, I know it's been about probably 10 years since we had that development for the rock quarry. Can you pull the address on that rock quarry? There's nothing but rocks out there on.
You would like the address of the proposed rock quarry?
Yes.
Okay, we will get that
I want to see
information
if
for you.
it's the same property that was just the rock quarry.
It is.
Yes,
It is.
it is.
We've mentioned that multiple times.
So that's a lot of rock.
Okay. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, then we will take this item up on Monday.
All righty.
All right, next item is item number 25-299. It says tabled from August 4th to hold a public hearing and consider a request for variance from section 9.01.E.1 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer from 50 feet to 10 feet for a distance of 195 feet. And Section 9.01.E.2 to reduce the additional 25-foot impervious setback from 25 feet to 0 feet for a distance of 250 feet. For 132.20 acres located on Strickland Street in Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009, and Land Lot 189, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0021, application by Amazon Data Services. And folks, this item is going to be withdrawn.
Okay.
So we will take no further action.
All righty.
Our next item is item number 25-300, tabled from August 4th, to hold a public hearing and consider a request for variance from Section 9.01.E.1 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer from 50 feet to 12 feet for a distance of 200 feet, and Section 9.01.E.2 to reduce the additional 25-foot impervious setback from 25 feet to 0 feet for a distance of 395 feet for 132.20 acres located on Strickland Street in Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009, application by Amazon Data Services. And folks, the applicant is going to be withdrawing this item as well.
Okay.
Our next item is item 25-301, tabled from August 4th, to hold a public hearing and consider a request for variance from Section 9.01.E.2 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the additional 25-foot impervious setback from 25 feet to 15 feet for a distance of 85 feet for 132.20 acres located on Strickland Street in Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009, application by Amazon Data Services. And the applicant is going to be withdrawing this item as well. Item number 25-302, tabled from August 4th, to hold a public hearing and consider a request for variance from Section 9.01.E.2 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the additional 25-foot impervious setback from 25 feet to 20 feet for a distance of 30 feet for 132.20 acres located on Strickland Street in Land Lot 190, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0009, application by Amazon Data Services. And folks, the applicant is going to withdraw this item as well. Don't y'all get too excited, we got more. Okay. Item number 25-311 says to hold a public hearing and consider a request for a change in zoning from R2 Single Family Residential Detached District to R5 Single Family Cottage Residential District for 5.83 acres located at 8763 Elma Street in Land Lot 22, District 1, Section 5, Parcel ID B009. Application by Stonewall Builders, LLC. And I do believe our very own Dana Gray is going to come down and go over this item with us.
Good evening once again. This is a request to rezone from R2 to R5 located on 8763 Elmer Street and Cornelia Drive, which is in close proximity to Campbellton Street and near Douglas High School. It's approximately 6.6 acres. There's an existing house at the front of the property. If approved, the applicant will subdivide the land, creating separate parcels. And they are proposing 15 units for this development.
Thank you, Mr. Gray.
And the applicant is present.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, the applicant would like to come on down. If you'll give us your name and address for the record, please.
Paul Zachas, 3500 Raintree Court, Douglasville, 30135. Madam Mayor and Council. Good to see you guys.
Good evening.
So first of all, what I'd like to do is, so this application or this process for us has been a while, and I want to thank Ms. Hampton, Mr. Gray, Jennifer Owens, who's always awesome to me, and I don't know where Chelsea is. Where's Chelsea?
She's in here this evening.
Last but not least, Chelsea. As a matter of fact, we've become BFFs, and we're probably going clubbing this weekend. So I want you guys you're all welcome. So, but she's been wonderful. So you guys have done such a great job of developing downtown Douglasville. You got a lot of stuff going on. We got restaurants, the amphitheater, all these things are great. And one of the things that we lack is single-family houses. Not to beat up on townhomes and condos and data centers and things like that, but single families needed. So we've have worked through this process. I've had multiple meetings, met with your development review team. I don't know how many people were on that meeting, but it seemed to be that the fire marshal pretty much controlled that meeting. He had the most concerns, and we were able to work through those. Sat with Brian Keel from WSA, with our civil engineer, Matt Bailey, and those guys came up with things that we needed. And actually, in talking with Brian, he talked about what a very low impact it would make. I said, does that even affect? He goes, it's not even a bleep on their radar. There's two entrances to this subdivision. So you have Campbellton Street, and you've got, I believe, Presley Mill. The home prices that we're looking to build will probably be in the high 300s to low 400s. That exceeds the existing subdivision that's there now. The average price in the subdivision now, sales price is about $340. List price is about $364. So this will be a new product and exceed that, so it'll help their value. Also, it's walking distance to downtown. So that to me, that's a big deal. And on top of that, with we talk a lot about workforce housing, and sometimes folks kind of frown upon that. But what this is going to allow us to do is we'll be able to build a product there that if you've got a school teacher and a first responder or a police officer and a fireman, they'll be able to afford this product, and it's a quality product on top of that. So. Other than that, I'm here to answer any questions that you guys may have, and I do have a couple pictures.
Thank you, Mr. Zakas. Okay, so I'm looking at the plat right now, and it looks like, am I seeing this right? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 single-family homes right here, and then an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that will have a rear entryway.
That's correct.
And then, okay, of course, and then 5 more. Okay, I can count. And then that third section of 5 would be the ones with the front entry garage. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the renderings that I see here in front of me, as well as the ones that were emailed the other day, were all front entry.
Yep, and I'll have those before your meetings Tuesday. Is that correct?
Yes, the sooner the better.
Yep.
I would say myself and probably most of council are going to be very visual. I want to be able to, see it. If I can't touch it, then I need to at least see it.
Yep,
and
I understand.
have an idea of what we're looking at. Okay.
I understand.
Now, the renderings that were sent to me were not quite what is in your framed photos. I think that the materials used may have been the materials used was a little different, although I think that the concept is the same and the floor plan is probably the same.
That's correct. They have same floor plan with multiple elevations. So what I did was I thought that had been sent. Obviously it didn't. So I was kind of scrambling, and I couldn't remember which ones I actually had photos of. So
okay.
Floor plan's the same. Materials are the same. There just may be a little bit. You may have. Different color, different style shutters, things like that on the.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I could send you 20 different renderings of one floor plan.
No, what I want to know is what could be done to elevate the look of what I'm looking at.
Okay.
So I'm open to suggestions and conversations about that.
Okay.
And with that, I'm going to leave it alone for right now, and let's see what Mayor and Council has to say. Madam Mayor?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Zacks. We appreciate you coming in with the, with your proposal. Now it's R2 currently, so there are 2 acres and 2 homes or 1 home on the,
There's one home, and this is going to be to the right of it. So it's about 7.1, 7.2 total. So the house will be, it'll stay with the 1.1 or 1.2 acres, and then ours is is right at 6 acres, slightly under 6 acres of where we're doing this development.
okay, so I have, when I've driven over there, so it's on the right-hand side?
Yes,
Of
ma'am.
course,
Yep.
yes. And it's going to be 10 total?
15.
15?
Yes.
Okay, on 7 acres?
Correct.
Okay.
No, 15 on 6.
15 on 6 acres?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a pocket park you have proposed on
We
here
do.
as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. Council? Mayor Pro
Thank you.
Tem?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
If you say the word cul-de-sac.
No, I'm just proud of the fact that I'm starting to create, 7 other architects on city council now. We're all becoming design critics. I love it. I'll second what she said about the elevations. Paul, I'm assuming you couldn't get an alley. First of all, I appreciate that you've got the alleyways in. Thank you so much. That's great. Is it around units number 1 through 5? I'm assuming you couldn't get it because of the buffer, the stream buffer. Is that why you couldn't get an alleyway behind those?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're stuck with the garage entries on those.
And according to your zoning, I think a certain amount of them needed to be rear entry as well. So we fit with the ordinance that you guys asked for.
I mean, it'd be great if they could all be that way for the garages. But yeah, I would definitely reiterate what the chairwoman said about revisiting the look of those. And there's ways of dressing garage entries up, and
Absolutely.
you can put porticos on. You can disguise, make do carriage doors and so forth. But yeah, there's definitely make sure you don't do vinyl. We don't.
No vinyl.
Okay, 'cause we don't allow vinyl. Okay, I'll leave it at that for now. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Anyone else in on that end? No. Coach, what you got?
I'm assuming because of the one variance that y'all be asking for coming up, the width of the alleyway, that alleyway is going to be a one-way, come in one end, go out the other. It won't be two-way, or?
Yeah, it would probably have to be one way, and both those alleyways would be relatively short. Do we discuss this? I know it's on the other. Do we? What do I do?
If it's on the other, just wait until we get to that.
Okay. Either way.
But anyway,
Okay.
I just was curious.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Councilwoman Hudson, do you have anything to add to it yet?
Not at this time.
You've got a few more
Yeah, we have 3 more.
items to
Yeah.
be asking. Okay. Well, if you have nothing else to add to this is a public hearing. So at this time, if we have anyone here who would like to speak in favor of this item, again, you'll come down, fill out those comment cards, get them over to Ms. Callen. On your right here, give us your name and address for the record. You'll have 5 minutes to speak and a total of 20 minutes.
My name is Douglas Boggs, 1679 Morningside Trace, Marietta. I am, Douglasville is my hometown, and the property in question is my boyhood home. It's where I grew up. Over the years, my dad acquired the 6 acres to add to the 1 acre that the house is built on. We've tried unsuccessfully over the past 4 years to sell the house and the land together. People who were interested in the house weren't interested in the land, and vice versa. So it is to our benefit tax-wise to sell it all as one parcel, but unfortunately, we just haven't found anyone interested in paying the amount that we need for the property. So unfortunately, we've decided that the best route to go was to subdivide the property, and it had been our vision while my parents were still alive that it would be a perfect property, either a retirement community, cluster homes, empty nesters,
because of the proximity to the hospital, to downtown, to shopping, et cetera, I-20 as well. So that's where we stand. We support this. We wish that there could be fewer homes, nicer homes built on the property, but because the developer's being forced to access the property from Elma Street and cross that creek, the development costs are astronomical. So it would have been much less expensive if they could have come off of Camilton down Woodlawn and accessed it through Rudd's Alley, but unfortunately, only one home could be built on the property in order to use that route. So we support what they're doing, and we hope you will too. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anyone else who wanted to speak in favor of the item? Okay. If not, we'll close that section of the public hearing. And if we have anyone who would like to speak in opposition of the item, again, you'll have 5 minutes to speak. If you'll please give us your name and address for the record.
My name is Elodie Nestor, 6292 Cornelia Drive, Douglasville, Georgia. I'm not necessarily opposed, but I don't see why there needs to be 15 houses on 5 acres. I feel like there'd be a lot of traffic, and there's already a lot of traffic on that Campbellton Street right now. Anyway, if you could do about 10 houses, because I'm on half an acre, have enough room so people can breathe and also wildlife, I just don't see why it has to be 15 homes back there. I feel like it's a small space for that many houses. And I don't know how that's affordable. I'm an occupational therapist, and I couldn't afford a $400,000 house. Just in reality, I have school loans, and it's not just a mortgage. There's so many, I've learned the hard way. There's so many things to owning a home. So I don't know who these houses are being built for, but it's not for teachers or even professionals like me. It's just astronomical pricing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My
Hey
name
there.
is Jennifer Perpignan. I
Could
resided.
say your name again, I apologize.
Jennifer Perpignan,
And your address.
6393 Wood Valley Road.
Thank you.
So I own the home behind the residence that they're talking about. And my only concern is they say it's a shared driveway. That is our only way in and out. And I just want more clarity on how and where these houses are going to be built and how that's going to affect us going in and out of our home, because it is a narrow driveway that's shared with 2 other homes towards the end of the road. So I would just like more clarity. I do feel like 15 is a lot. I just stumbled upon this hearing in the mail, so I wasn't aware of that before. So I'm just trying to do my research and just find out before things go on to figure out how that affects our home and where we live.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Leslie Chu, 8548 Lake Forest Drive, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. I'm here this evening just to gather information. I'm not saying that I'm opposed, nor am I saying that I'm for this community. I attended the planning and zoning meeting after one of the partners of Stonewall Builders informed me that they were looking to purchase this property in question. A few weeks later, I get a little flyer in my mailbox, and I have yet to discover who put that flyer out, because it showed all the variants, signs, and then a plat of the community and how it backs up to my property, which is in Lake Forest Plantation. So I was hoping to get more information at the planning and zoning meeting, but there were no pictures, there was nothing about what's going on. And of course, we're concerned in the neighborhood that I live in. So in 1998, I did my due diligence before I purchased the lot in the community Lake Forest Plantation from Glenn Cooey, who was the developer. Oh, did that just come on? Okay. So have you heard anything I've said?
Yes, we
Okay,
heard it, Leslie.
thank you. And of course, in investing that type of money, I talked with Glenn. He says, look, everything around here is R2, you're protected. So me and the other 13 people in that community invested between $9 and $11 million in our homes. And we literally back up to this community. So I do have a vested interest in what's going on behind me. And that's why I'm here. So in 2006, 2007, I actually met Doug's parents, Sue and Glenn Boggs, and we actually were thinking about, when I say we, I'm a builder, but I bought my lots from a developer. The developer approached me and said, hey, let's think about cutting through Lake Forest Plantation and gaining access to the property in question. We'll build 3 or 4 really nice homes, 800 to 900,000 range, and it'll just be a no-brainer because it tails off a community where there's already homes in that price range. We met with the Boggses. It just didn't work out. We made an offer. Obviously, it wasn't adequate. We looked into the development cost. We met with the WSA. We met with everybody, and it just didn't work out. Now, I stand here telling you that I believe in people's property rights. I understand Doug Boggs' position. I'm 100% behind people who own property have the right to sell it, and there's nothing wrong with making a profit. That's their right. I would just like to know what is actually going on behind what is going on in this proposed development, and I yet have gotten to know that. Now, I'm a little bit in a precarious situation because I know all 3 of these guys, and they're my friends. But I would dare say if I was proposing this in their backyard, they would be up here saying the same thing. So I would just like a little consideration, and I know you all will be giving consideration on, is this the best place for a community in the $300,000 to $400,000 range? Being in the building business, I understand the need for affordable housing. The other hat I wear, I built the last for 25 years, I built the last houses for Habitat for Humanity in this community. And we're all about clean, decent, affordable living. Unfortunately, $300,000 to $400,000 in today's market is a starter home. And yes, it's basically a starter home, and I am very concerned that product being in our backyard. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, Carrie Carver, 8770 Campbellton Street, Douglasville, 30134. I'm not sure I have anything new to add. I just wanted to go on the record in opposition. So my property backs up to this property from Campbellton Street. So if you look at the plats, I don't know, a good 15, 16 different individual homeowners back up and border to this, maybe more. There's a lot of people, a lot of neighbors that would be impacted by having 15 new homes basically in everyone's backyard. Everyone I'm referring to backs up to this. So yeah, 15 just seems like an extraordinarily high number. And what I'm gathering is that what they're saying is they need to build that many for this to be profitable to develop. So you got to think about that if that's really a good reason to be why you're doing something. So yeah, 15 seems like a lot, and I know I unfortunately missed the planning commission meeting. I was out of town. I watched the recording, and it seemed to be one of the big issues that the Planning Commission had was the lack of outreach to all of the folks affected by this project. And so I just want to echo that, you know, a development like this is going down right in the middle of really 3 different developments, Campbellton Street, the Lake Forest, and the Cornelia Drive. You're talking about nestling this in between 3 existing communities without talking to any of those communities at all. And then I would add that it's a very different visual community than what's there already. This is a new concept, new look, homes that are very close together on very small lots. That's very different than anything that's around, that's bordering it. So anyway, just wanted to have my voice heard. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you. Was there anyone else who wanted to speak on this item? Okay, if not, let's go ahead and close that section of the public hearing. Madam Mayor, did you have something to add?
Yes, ma'am. Just before we go forward, Mr. Paul, if you come forward, please. I didn't realize this. I'm not sure.
Yes,
Has there been any community meetings? It's not a requirement, but it really helps if you.
When we came for the development meeting, Mr. Francisco, Mark Van was there, and I talked to Mark, and I said, "Do you have an HOA?" They said no, and I said, "Well, how am I supposed to talk to the residents if they don't have an HOA?" And Francisco told me to figure it out. So I don't really know.
And I can add to that because I was actually watching that meeting from home. I was a little shocked by that. I know that public input meetings can be helpful at times, especially when you have larger developments. But when you're looking at a development that is, somewhere around, 10 to 20 homes, it's probably not as necessary. But he was not given the toolbox of the things to have a public meeting.
And I did ask Mr. Van, I talked to him the next day, and I said, is there anybody that I need to talk to? Do you think I need to go see? And he said no.
I guess I would say, Wood Valley, the community there, and maybe some of the neighbors. I'm not saying you have to go door to door knocking, but if they receive something, Mr. Chu received something in the mail. Did you do mailers?
We didn't do the mailers because, like Les says, we used to be friends.
No, I'm sure you still are. He just wants.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's coming in his backyard.
No, like Mr. Chu said, we had one of our guys because we knew, less property backs up to it.
Yes, sir.
And it seems like a lot of the folks in Lake Forest came to Les, say, hey, what's going on over there? So we made sure we reached out to Les on that one. And then as far as where this is, and that subdivision is where Mark lives, and I said, because we've had a pretty good gap of time since the development to now, and I said, do you need me to reach out? And he said no.
Okay. All right. I was just.
And we would have done that because usually we do the HOA thing and meet wherever we need to meet, and because we don't want to butt heads with folks.
Now, is there a shared street? This going to be a shared street?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
So I don't know. I thought I heard someone say something. Wood Valley or Lake Forest. Okay, I thought there was a shared in between the
I
subdivisions.
think that there was some confusion about
That's the thing. If
about the plat, right?
If everybody knows, then they won't be.
But for full transparency, Mr. Zakos did reach out to me and said, "Hey, do I need to have a public hearing?" And I said, I don't think it's necessary for this amount of homes because I know I had already spoken with multiple neighbors and they had asked me about the meeting times and all. So if we need to go back and punt, I'll take some liability for that as well. I just didn't see it necessary for such a small development.
Okay, well, the development is small, but it's going to impact three neighborhoods. So
Correct.
And that other
Correct.
neighborhood backs up to my neighborhood, so just.
Right. But I mean, and I live on Campbellton Street too, and I've lived in downtown Douglasville for the better part of the last 45 years. And I can tell you, at one point I lived at the other end of Campbellton Street and my lot size was 1/10 of an acre. And right now I live on an acre and a half, and my neighbors on one side of me are just under an acre, and my neighbors on the other side of me are a quarter of an acre.
Right.
Every house is different, every floor plan is different. Across the street from me, I have another eighth of an acre with
Yeah.
one of our neighbors, and I know that because we take care of the yard. But like, everything's
So it's a
a little
variety.
bit different, you know, it's not quite cookie cutter when you're in downtown. And so I do recognize that things are going to start going in other places. So I'm hoping that we can have that open dialogue
Yes.
here and say, you know, what works for you, what doesn't work here, and let's figure it out. But
Yes, ma'am. And the other thing, Paul, is there any way you can reduce the lot size, I mean, the number of homes?
We actually started with 18
Woo-wee.
and moved down to
Uh-huh.
15 to fit the engineering, and in talking with WSA and all those guys, that was the number that we came up with.
And so if it's R2 and you're going to R5,
Correct.
10 seems like, you know,
technically, they could do about 10 without rezoning it, though, I think.
that
on-
would probably
on
be
the
more
6
palatable.
acres. But I'm just saying without even rezoning it in the
Yeah,
R2 classification.
And that wouldn't work for us to, development cost.
Mm-hmm.
We would need more units than that. But, keep in mind that the houses at 16 to 1,800 square foot, it's going to be single-family houses. So there's not going to be multiple,
Right.
It's, what I see around the county now, especially because, I still build and develop around the county, what I see now is when you start going with these larger homes that are square footage of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 square foot, there's multiple families, there's tons of cars,
Yeah.
you can see. So, we're trying to eliminate that a little bit. And folks, to be honest with you, people don't want big yards anymore.
Right.
People want, they don't, they're working and doing the kid thing, and so we feel like there's a market for it. People are going to smaller lots, closer houses, and it's single family, which
Yeah.
again, we you guys have been getting beat up. The commission, the county commissioner or the county commissioner saying, as far as townhomes, condominiums,
Right.
and so we're trying to do something good, that people can walk and enjoy what you guys have already done in downtown Douglasville.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Anyone else? No? Okay. Well, don't give up just yet, because there's more.
Just getting started.
All right. Our next item is item number 25-312. Says hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance from section 3.06.b of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 7.5 feet to 5 feet on a lot of 5.83 acres at 8763 Elma Street in Land Lot 22, District 1, Section 5. Parcel ID B009, application by Stonewall Builders, and Mr. Dana Gray is going to go over this item with us.
Good evening again. This is a request to reduce the side yard setback for the properties from 7.5 to 5 foot. This allowed them to work their design a little bit better, having that reduction to 5 feet, the proposed reduction.
Thank you, Ms. Gray. And Mr. Zakis, would you like to come down and talk to us about side yard setbacks?
Yeah, so we've asked for the smaller setbacks, and the biggest thing for that was obviously so that we could get the unit number that we were trying to get, and also the fire marshal discussed that too in our development meeting. We talked about that, and he felt like that was not a big deal.
Okay. So 5 feet, would that be a total of 10 foot though? So it's 5 foot on each, but then there's still a little extra of a buffer from that too as well,
Correct.
right? Okay.
What's the total house to house? What would that be?
Okay.
Right, 10 foot between houses.
Okay.
Yep.
So you don't have to do sprinklers
Correct.
there. Okay. So you're just at that cost. Okay. Madam Mayor, council questions on side yard setbacks.
So just to reiterate, So I know the fire chief is here, Dr. Allen. So there is not an issue. You would not have to do sprinklers. Like sometimes if their homes are closer, we have to have a firewall or something.
Right.
But this would not require that.
Councilman Estes can attest to this. He lives in Tributary where I used to build.
I was just about
in there.
to do so.
And
Most of the houses in my neighborhood are well within even 10 feet, I think.
Well, and you remember over in the Leland section over there, the lot line is the other house. We didn't put windows on one side, so your yard goes from a side yard to their house, which was kind of odd to me. Yeah, so if the neighbor was painting his house, he would have to paint from your yard.
It works well
Okay.
in our community. Not that particular situation, but
But
The
10
painting?
feet.
yeah, I don't need to worry about that. But I especially coming from New Orleans, where houses are very close together, that's one of the things that attracted me to Tributary. Was driving in, it felt familiar and comfortable because the houses were close together instead of on acre-and-a-half lots where you feel like there's no community.
Okay.
It helped, and that's the reason I bought the house that I did.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Coach?
If you go to a lot of communities now, you see a wide range of development, from the R2 to, just different, you go over to Mirror Lake and see drive down different streets and see a lot of different layouts, I guess you could say.
Right.
But, that's just, I think, natural. And it's good to see a variety, I think, because most kids coming out of college now can't afford the R2 and R4 houses that we've all built and bought. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
Nope, you're so true. If I can piggyback on that, as a lifelong, I guess now realtor, I see different varieties of homes all over the West Georgia and Atlanta, Metro Atlanta area, and I'm coming to realize that there's generations of these new adults that I still call kiddos. They don't want yards. They don't want the maintenance. They don't want a lot of the home maintenance, but a lot of them are getting to that point now where they do want to own their piece of the pie. They want part of the American dream and home ownership, and it seems as though that's what we're evolving to. And not for everybody, but for some. Yeah, and if it's going to go anywhere, I think I could see it more in a walkable area. Okay, side yard setbacks. Any other discussion, Mayor and Council? No? Okay. At this time, we do need to open up that public hearing. So if we have anyone here who would like to speak in favor of the side yard setback variance? And if we don't have anyone, let's go ahead and close that portion of the public hearing. And if we have anyone who would like to speak in opposition of this variance, if you'll come down and give us your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Barry Hayward. I live at 8847 Elma Street. I'm assuming you're talking about making the lot smaller so they could put more homes in that area. When you put more homes in that area, I live on 8847. Everyone who walks down my street, I recognize them. I know them. We don't have any sidewalks. So if you can't get out on Campbellton Road off of Elma Street, you're going to come down my street, which is Elma Street, the opposite end, and go to Van Sant. And that's going to increase the traffic. We won't be able to walk our dogs anymore. We won't be able to walk just by and say hello to the neighbors, because now there's going to be a constant flow of cars coming from that subdivision. And that's why I'm opposed to it. I like the small town feel that I get living in my neighborhood, and I would like to maintain that.
Thank you. Did we have anyone else who wanted to speak on side yard setbacks? Okay. Let's go ahead and close this portion of the public hearing and move along to the next item. The next item is item number 25-314. Says to hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance from section 11.03.e.4 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the minimum alleyway width from 20 feet to 12 feet on a lot of 5.83 acres at 8763 Elma Street in Land Lot 22, District 1, Section 5, Parcel ID B009. Application by Stonewall Builders, LLC. Mr. Dana Gray.
Yes. In rezoning to R5, there's a requirement for a certain amount of homes to be garaged into the rear, which requires an alley. That alley is required to be 20 foot, so the applicant is requesting to reduce that 20 foot to 12. It was reviewed by the county fire department, and they approved that reduction proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. I know that when we looked at this ordinance, part of the width, I think I'm looking down at Councilman Estes, because I think you guys may have had rear alleyway troubles.
I wouldn't say that. We do have some alleyways that are more narrow than 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
So my concern would be actually for staff and particularly public services, because
Right.
I know at Tributary, the city had to buy a particular garbage
That's right,
truck
just to be able
that
to
was
get in the
small enough to
streets.
fit down the smaller alleyway. And my question would be, if this variance was awarded, would that same thing be required in this
Right.
case? Because that's a
To either buy that or look at
significant
destroying
additional
streets.
cost to the
Mhm.
city for a small development.
Okay. Ms. Burdette, can you help us
I
with
can.
that?
Melissa Burdette, 8485 West Courthouse Square. We can reduce it down to 12 feet, but it would have to be one way. And we can use the small garbage trucks that we use at Tributary.
So you could use the same trucks?
We can use the same trucks, but the alleyways would have to be
Okay,
one
so
way.
it'd be, as long as it wouldn't
What
need
day is your trash pickup?
Mondays.
So is mine.
Well, theirs would have to be a different day, I guess, if
Well,
this
no, I
gets
mean, that's
approved.
right behind me. We'll have to change yours. No, I'm kidding. Okay. 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 Well, I mean, it's just something to consider, because I knew, I had forgotten about the part about having to get an additional smaller truck, but I was more concerned about streets getting torn up or something.
Well, and the other thing is in Tributary, they're concrete, and we would want them to be asphalt.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Would that be a condition if you were to approve that?
Okay.
Condition for asphalt? For the alleyways.
Mm-hmm.
And what about the fire trucks?
The fire department, I believe, had already signed off on this.
Okay.
They would have access from the front.
Right, because, they would have access from the front
Okay.
on a full-size road to the homes.
Okay.
Ms.
And I-
Hampton?
And I just wanted to verify with Ms. Burdette, we would want to maintain those alleyways, is that correct? We would not want those to be private, or do we want them to be private?
We want them to be private.
Okay.
So is there going to be a homeowners association in this neighborhood?
There would be a requirement for one due to stormwater,
Okay.
maintenance of common areas, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I mean, with only 15 houses, that's a very small HOA.
Right, but you've got mail kiosks now, you've got, like she said, the storm
Common
water.
areas.
Mhm.
Okay,
Dog parks. all-
Okay,
okay. So is that in there, that's going to be put in the stipulation, or is it already in the stipulation?
they haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
We'll get there. Okay.
Building say would be the primary driver behind an HOA requirement.
Okay.
But that can be added as a condition to the rezoning item.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Burdette.
Private streets.
Okay, Mr. Zacco, so do you have, where are we at here? Do you want to talk to us about the street?
Yeah,
the
so,
alleyways?
so Yeah, when we talked to the fire marshal in our meeting, he was okay with the 20 to 12 because he said he didn't have to take the truck behind the units because he could serve the homes from the front. And Mr. Estes can attest to this too, as far as the way Tributary was set up. You get behind those houses and you've got, you're going left and right, and these, because there's only, I believe 5 houses on each side of that, you're going in one way, out the other. So the distance is very, very small, whereas in Tributary, you can go the whole length of the street coming in behind houses. So it's a little more complicated, which is probably a lot of the reasons the turning radius is a little difficult. Is that fair to say, Mr. Estes?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. All right. Madam Mayor, Council, do you guys have any questions, additional questions on that? Okay. At this time, let's go ahead and open that public hearing. If we have anyone here who would like to speak in favor of this variance on the back alleyways. And if not, we'll go ahead and close that portion of the public hearing. And if we have anyone here who would like to speak in opposition of the back alleyway variance from 20 feet to 12 feet. Okay. And if we don't have anyone here who would like to speak on this item, let's go ahead and close that portion of the public hearing. All right, next item is item number 25-315. Says hold a public hearing and consider a request for variance from section 9.01 of the Unified Development Ordinance to build part of the development in the stream buffer on a lot of 5.83 acres located at 8763 Elma Street in Land Lot 22, District 1, Section 5. Parcel ID B009, application by Stonewall Builders. Mr. Dana Gray.
Okay, they are, again, requesting to build part of the development in the stream buffer. It would affect lots 1 through 5 only. They would disturb that buffer, but put it back to its original state, and they will not be putting any structures within that buffer.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Okay. Mr. Zakas, would you like to come down and talk to us about the stream buffer?
I feel like I'm at church, up and down. That's good. Yeah, so obviously we're going to have to move dirt. We're going to bring dirt in, move dirt around. So moving into the stream buffer, like Mr. Gray said, we're not going. It'll actually look better when we're done than it does now. It's pretty much overgrown. So no structures will be on it, and we just need it as part of the development, and then we'll. We're at your mercy as far as how we landscape it back, but grass and trees, and we'll do what we need to do to beautify the area.
Okay, so it will be protected. It will just be trampled through a little bit for development.
Correct.
Okay. Madam Mayor, Council, questions? Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Zakas. I do see, and I know this is about the stream buffer, but on the renderings, it says a stormwater pond.
Correct.
So if you can.
Yeah, so.
Because we don't have any more items, so that's the only reason why I'm bringing it up.
Yep. So our civil engineer put that there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that's required, because you can't have water leaving faster than it came in, obviously, mm-hmm. So that's why that's there. So that was just required in the civil engineer drawings. In sitting down with WSA, he saw that. Mm-hmm. I had him on the phone, and I let them talk the engineering jargon back and forth, explaining that to each other. And Brian Keel was perfectly okay with that.
Okay, so the stream buffer that we're talking about now that's going to be disturbed but then replaced will go into this stormwater? Is that the same?
Correct. That stormwater will be the low
Okay.
spot in the neighborhood, so all water will go in there and then release out the same speed or slower than it came in.
All righty. Thanks so much. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Anyone else? Mr. Mutter? No? Okay. At this time, let's go ahead and open up the floor for that public hearing. If we have anyone here who would like to speak in favor of, let's go ahead, cut to the chase, or in opposition to the stormwater, or excuse me,
Stream buffer.
stream buffer. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mhm.
If you'll come down, give us your name and address for the record. And if we don't have anyone, let's go ahead and close the public hearing. And we can take this item up on Monday. I'm not sure. I know that we heard a lot of questions. I don't know if they were all answered. I don't know if people want to stick around to the end and we can try and make sure that the answers that we can answer get answered this evening, or that we find answers. Did I say that word enough? Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you, friends. Next item is item number 25-348. Says to hold a public hearing and consider request for a variance from section 8.02 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the landscape strip to the west from 15 feet to 11 feet on a land lot of 1.019 acres at 664 Thornton Road and land lot 423, District 18, Section 2, Parcel ID 0001, application by Kimley Horn. Mr. Dana Gray.
Okay, thank you. This is a proposal for a Whataburger on Thornton Road. Presently, it is a KFC. They would like to reduce the side yard landscape strip from 15 to 11 to allow for a double drive-through lanes. And that concludes. And
Thank you. And is the applicant here?
yes, he is.
Okay. If you'll please come down and give us your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamal Ragland, and my address is in Sugar Hill. I'm from Kimley Horn. I'm the civil engineer consultant on the project, and I think we have a presentation with this one too as well. Okay, so if you could flip to the next screen, please. So the current site right now is an existing KFC that is vacant, and we're currently looking to do a tentative improvement to the site to propose a Whataburger in the same exact spot as the KFC is for the building. Right now, the site is a single lane drive-through, and one of the challenges with that after COVID, dual drive-through lanes has become a dynamic thing for quick service restaurants. So that is one of the things that we kind of need for this site to operate for traffic concern reasons. If we go to the next slide, I kind of listed out some of the issues with the single lane drive-through. As you can see, some of the cars are stacked in the parkway and also on the street, which we're trying to avoid because it's a higher risk for on-site traffic collision. The drive-through queuing space expands out into the street, kind of blocks other neighbors and et cetera like that. And then also there's site vehicular access issues that we'll face with single lane drive-through. There's other variances along with this, but for this variance right here that we're requesting, these are the conflicts that we're dealing with for the single lane drive-through.
Okay, thank you so much. Madam Mayor, Council, do we have questions? Coach?
The, looking at that slide, the side that you need the variance on, the landscaping variance is right next to a tire store, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, ma'am. And just for clarity, Mr. Ragland, if you can give us the address. I know you said Sugar Hill, Sugar Loaf, if it's Kimberly Horn or it's your personal, but we need the full address.
Sorry, I thought you meant like my address. That's why I said my address. For this site, it is...
Oh, no, the address for the company, right?
Oh, for the company?
Because you're the engineer for Kimberly Horn, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So the address is 3930 East Jones Bridge Road, Suite 350, Petrie Corners, Georgia.
Okay, thank you. I didn't have any questions about that.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you for the clarification, Madam Mayor. Anyone else? Nope, okay. Well, this is a public hearing, so at this time, if we have anyone here who would like to speak, just cut to the chase, in favor of or in opposition to this variance, if you'll please come down and give us your name and address for the record. And if we don't have anyone, let's go ahead and close that section of the public hearing. And we can take that item up on Tuesday. Okay. Make sure I'm not skipping any here. Okay. Next item is item number 25-349. Says to hold a public hearing and consider a request for variance from section 8.02 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the landscape strip to the south from 10 feet to 0 feet on a land lot of 1.019 acres at 664 Thornton Road and land lot 423, District 18, Section 2, Parcel ID 0001, application by Kenley Horn. Mr. Dana Gray.
Yes, this is a request again to reduce the landscape strip from 10 foot to 0. It's at the front of the property. And this will allow them better access for their delivery trucks.
Thank you for that. Okay. And would the applicant like to come down?
Hello again, everyone. Can we go to the presentation again and go to the second slide? Or the third slide, I think. So, yeah, right here. So currently right now with the existing site layout, we're not able to deliver to the site with the current truck that we use right now. For us to have the operations of the site and also to avoid traffic issues and everything like that as well, we would need to push the front parking stalls to the front. That way we'll still maintain the minimum requirement of 32 parking stalls and also make sure the truck has enough access without any conflicts of hitting into cars or et cetera like that. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. Madam Mayor, Council, any questions on this particular item? Okay. That being said, let's go ahead and open the public hearing. If we have anyone here who would like to speak on this item, if you'll please come down and give us your name and address for the record. And if we don't have anyone, let's go ahead and close the public hearing. Move along. Item number 25-350 says to hold a public hearing and consider a request for variance from section 8.01 of the Unified Development Ordinance to reduce the parking setback to the south from 10 feet to 0 feet on a lot of 1.019 acres at 664 Thornton Road and land lot 423, District 18, Section 2, Parcel ID 0001, application by Kenley Horn. Mr. Dana Gray.
All right. Again, this is to reduce the parking setback from 10 to 0, which will assist them with better access for the delivery trucks so they can pull the parking spaces up further.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Okay. And if you'd like to come down and tell us about this particular variance, I actually do have one question though too. Not really so much related to the variance. I was just curious, are you guys going to be demoing that entire building or are y'all just repurposing the existing KFC?
We'll be repurposing it. So it'll
Okay.
still be the same building structure, which is, again,
Yeah, just making that parking lot work for you guys.
correct.
Okay. Madam Mayor, Council, questions of this particular item? No? Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, at this time, if we have anyone here who would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to this setback, if you'll please come down and give us your name and address for the record. And if not, let's go ahead and close the public hearing and we will take this item up on Tuesday. Thank you so much. Y'all don't get rid of me that easy. We got more. Item number 25-351 says to hold a public hearing and consider a request for a variance from section 4.08B of the Unified Development Ordinance to allow the canopy accessory structure to be placed in the front yard setback along Georgia Highway 5 on a lot of 1.34 acres at 9415 Georgia Highway 5 in Land Lot 160, District 2, Section 5, Parcel ID 0002, application by SK Georgia Partners LLC. Mr. Dana Gray.
Okay, this is a proposed convenience store with gas pumps. It is located approximately about 400 foot from 20 across the street from the Waffle House and the U-Haul, just to give you kind of a proximity of location. They are requesting a variance to allow the canopy in the front yard setback. This used to be a gas station some time ago. Now it's basically 3 retail stores with a Little Caesars Pizza and 2 other units. So they will be changing the building size, and Little Caesars will be staying with them. So
Okay.
applicant is here.
Thank you. Okay, the applicant would like to come down. If you'll please give us your name and address for the record.
Hello. I am Lori Kingery, and I am, my address is 280 Merchants Drive in Dallas, Georgia.
Okay.
And I'm here to represent the owner. Dana actually did tell you quite a bit about the project already, but I would also like to add that there are some exceptional conditions because we are currently in review for a land disturbance permit that is requiring us to add stormwater infrastructure. There is no existing stormwater infrastructure at this site at this time. So there will be a pond in the back of the property. There is currently a land disturbance permit that we have begun the review process. So we've gotten approval on that from the Water Authority, and we were waiting for this hearing before we submitted it to the city. So we will be submitting that to the city, and Marcus Thompson we have met with Marcus Thompson on this project as well. But that pond does leave limited space and prevents the placement of gas pumps in the rear of the building. So that is why we're looking for gas pumps in the front. Also, gas pumps in the front also do help with the economic portion of make economic sense for this development. There will be a 4,900 square foot convenience store, and the existing Little Caesars will move into, will stay still in this new building, but it will have its own featured new area as well. So I think that's probably all I've got. I do know that there was gas pumps at this location back in 2015. They were removed at that time, but it has been determined that these owners would like to have the gas pumps back.
Okay. And then will you guys be demoing that building to build a new building?
That is correct.
Okay. And then I feel like I know that we talked about the gas pump issue at some other point in the past. I do remember seeing this. Okay. Coach, please.
About 45 years ago, I believe it started off as a Chevron station.
Oh, did it?
One of the few gas stations. Sam goes further back than I do, but 45 years ago, it was a pretty good. But anyway, so my question is,
Sure.
are the tanks from the 2 previous gas stations still in the ground?
No.
So y'all have to basically start over with that also?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and I always remember the gas pumps being out front. I don't ever remember them being in the rear. But anyway, that's all I had.
Thank you, Coach. Anyone else?
Coach asked the question I wanted to ask, so I'm sorry. Don't do it, don't let it happen again.
I think those things have to be assessed every so many, like 10, 15 years or so. And so I believe, if I remember correctly, that's when they came out. Okay, no other questions? Did we have, yep, so thank you so much. At this time, I do need it, let's go ahead and have that public hearing.
Okay.
If we have anyone here who would like to speak in favor of or in opposition to the front yard accessory setback for the gas station restaurant on the corner of Highway 5 and I-20. And if not, then let's go ahead and close the public hearing, and we will take this item up on Tuesday. Madam Mayor, that is all that we have this evening for planning and development.
Shoo. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. You get a gold star. Okay, well, items 11 through 16 do not have any business, which is public improvement and beautification, public relations, public safety, recreation, culture, tourism, technology committee, and transportation committee. Since we don't have any business, we will not call those committees individually, and we'll move on to item 17, which is other business. Do we have any other business to come before council tonight from the elected officials? No? Okay, thank you. We'll move on to updates from our city staff, our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Dotson. Staff attorney, Ms. Miranda Jordan.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Police Department, Major Stafford.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Our city manager, Ms. Marsha Hampton.
No business, Madam Mayor.
What? Okay. We did win something yesterday. City manager, you want to make the announcement? Oh, is someone else?
I can't remember the name of the award, Mayor.
It was the, I know, so tired. The Downtown Georgia,
We won an award at the Georgia Downtown Association annual conference for the
Town Green.
for the best public space for our town green. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry
in the
about
entire
that.
state of Georgia.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
We did, absolutely.
For the Town Green.
And I just received word from your deputy city manager that we've also, again, we're the healthiest employer.
We're the healthiest employer award for our size. Yay. All right.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, when you come in this building out front, the big Parks, Recreation, Tourism, or maybe we could put a table, put an extra table out front.
For awards.
Would that?
I don't know.
I just was wondering.
Anyway, we're punch drunk. All right, any other comments? City manager, nothing. Comments from citizens and delegates, if you sustain the meeting and you'd like to speak to us about any business germane to the city of Douglasville, please come forward, give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to talk to us. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Sora. Okay.
My name is Andrea Hubbard.
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
6268 Cornelia Drive.
Yes.
I wanted to talk about the first thing about the planning. That's my neighbor over there.
Okay, now, I'm going to let you talk this time, but...
Oh, that's not what you
because-
want me to talk about?
No, you're supposed to, no, at the beginning of the meeting, I know you weren't here. At the beginning of the meeting, we said, once we do the public hearing for that particular item, you're supposed to talk in that time frame.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it's okay. So we're gonna let you hear because you weren't here and you didn't hear the instructions. But so the next time during the public hearing portion, then you can come up and talk about that particular item for or against it. But we'll allow it. I'll yield this time because you weren't here.
Thank you.
You're
Well,
welcome.
I'm neither for nor against, but what I just wanted to express what most of my neighbors feel is we bought the homes that we bought because of how it looked.
Yes, ma'am.
And now they're going to change how it looks. And if you didn't change the from an R2 to a R5 or whatever those numbers are, we wouldn't object, but because you are. So it's just, we don't really have a legitimate reason, no more than we just like the way it looked now.
I know.
And we don't want it to change. That's
Yes,
all I
ma'am.
have
Are
to
you
say.
still walking?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And just so y'all know, I'm still alive because of her.
I know. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Any other comments? Yes, sir. Good to see you this evening. If you give us your name and address for the record, please.
Jack Clower,
Yes, sir.
5011 Moroni Mill Road,
Yes, sir.
4867 Moroni Mill Road.
Mm-hmm.
And the old farm place is what, you know, I learned my lesson, because I paid taxes, I made a mistake. And I said, what am I paying the taxes for in the city? He said, this 13.59 acres is in the city. I said, no, it's not. So I'm hoping tonight y'all would say, Jack, you're back in the county. I want to go back home. But I never received any information about being annexed in or nothing. And I wore, you know, I've been nice to ladies and all up at the mayor's office and all.
Yes, sir.
I just, you know, I've been dealing on this thing, a couple of months.
I know.
And I was hoping maybe y'all would say, Jack, you going back home.
Well, we're trying to get you a ticket to see whether it's in the city or out of the city. But I think we're still working on it, Mr. Cloud.
Acres back in my old farm place there.
Yes, sir.
Because I had a house in 2 acres, and then there's 13 acres out the back where we deer hunt and play around and all.
Yes, sir.
But if y'all would, I wish y'all would take that and give me an answer on that thing. Say, Jack, we're going to do that today.
Well, I don't know about today, but I know we're working on it. Ms. Hampton or attorneys?
It's just the process, Mr. Carl. We'll get you there. We'll get you. We're sending you home. Just won't be as quick as you would
I mean,
like.
it will be before tax time, won't it?
I'm not
I'm gonna
sure.
give. How about I have somebody call you in the next couple of days to give you an exact timeline? How about that?
Okay, because that's how I found out, you know, and I'd made a mistake and went on and paid the taxes to the city last year at time for, and I said, what
You
am I
don't want to
doing
be in the
this?
city with us?
And I said, I'm not in the city. They said, yeah, you are. He went up and got a plaque. And I said, that's wrong, fella.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cloud. We appreciate you staying till the end to talk to us. We'll get you some information. All right, any other comments from citizens or delegates? Thank you. Not having, hearing anything else, we don't have any other business to come before us tonight. This meeting is adjourned.